Ladies and gentlemen, boys and NBs, welcome back to Warzone, and with Season 4 Reloaded, I did want to break down my top 10 loadouts for the season for the next month. And I've got some fun ones in here, but I obviously have the absolute best bangers as well. Before we get into it, make sure to like the video and subscribe if you're new here. Over 90% of my viewers are not subscribed, and we have grown 100 subscribers every 3 days for the past week. Let's keep that up. Let's keep the boom going. And on that note, let's get into it. All right, so starting out, we're going to start with the MCW without the Jack Raven kit. The MCW is absolutely in the meta for the mid-long range assault rifles now. After the buff that it got with the Season 4 patch, it's absolutely a fantastic gun. And for this build, we're going to use the VT7 Spirit Fire Suppressor with the 16.5-inch Cyclone barrel. We're going to use the 60-round drum, as it's the largest we have, the RB Claw PSL rear grip, and then I use the KR Mortis Precision as my optic. You can use the Eagle Eye or optic of your choice. This gun is very, very good, as you don't have to use a foregrip to get your stability. It has so much in the barrel, you can actually use the rear grip to get even more recoil control out of it. With this build, we have an impressive 951 meter per second bullet velocity. We have an ADS of 365 and a sprint out of 282. This gun is phenomenal. If for some reason you wanted to use the irons, what I would add would obviously be the Chimera laser just to speed it up. That's maybe for a loadout on Rebirth Island, but on Rebirth Island, I don't think I would really use this gun. This is more of a big map. And then I personally have that paired with the Ram 9 because the Ram 9 is still absolutely incredible. It did get nerfed, but it is still absolutely in the top of the meta. It is a very, very easy recoil pattern, and it absolutely slaps. And for this build, we're going to start with the ZEM 35 compensator and the Armistice light barrel. And the reason we're using the Armistice light barrel is to speed up our movement overall. It is going to cost us 5% recoil, but we're also going to get 10% to ADS and 5 to sprint out. We're then going to add on the X10 Phantom 5 hand stop. Again, more aim down sight, more sprint out, but we're also getting 5% to our vertical recoil. That 2% horizontal is essentially nothing. This gun just pulls to the right. It's very easy to control. We all know what this M compensator does. So with the 50 round mag, largest option we have, obviously, and then lastly, the ultra light stock to again up our movement, which is going to bring our movement up to 7.3 meters per second in our tactical sprint. And then while aiming down sights, we're at 3.6, and this thing flies and it fries. Ram 9 is absolutely incredible, and almost no one is using it right now. And then just to talk about perks, I have 3 setups that I'm using currently, and the Ghost setup is one that I typically only use in quads. The support loadout I have here, this is when I am not running a sniper rifle. This is typically what I run. We're using Mountaineer, Double Time, Quick Fix, and Flex. Flex is such an incredible attachment. If you haven't used it, absolutely give it a try. You can run over mines, and you can also hear all of the sound around you much better. Double Time is double time. Everyone should have this in their loadout. Mountaineer is so clutch for chasing down people. And then Quick Fix is better than Tempered, because not only can you get a tempered vest, but the second you start putting a plate in, you immediately have full health, so you can get back into the fight faster. And then when I'm sniping, I simply change over one perk, and that is changing Flex for High Alert, just because I'm going to find myself on the top of a lot of buildings and in open spaces. High Alert is absolutely clutch for staying alive with a sniper. And then for every single one of my loadouts, if I'm on big map, I'm using thermites. If I'm on small map, I'm using throwing knives. And then of course, smoke grenades, almost always. There are sometimes I'll use stims, primarily with a shotgun or a double SMG loadout, but smoke grenades are just so overpowered, it's very rare that I will switch off. With our next loadout, I actually have the best sniper in the game currently. This is a one-shot sniper at any range, just like the Cat or the Moors. However, you can use high velocity ammo in this now and get a 1200 meter per second bullet velocity and a sub 500 millisecond aim down sight speed. And to accomplish that, we're going to use the sonic suppressor to up our range and our bullet velocity. The range is not so much important as the bullet velocity. We're also going to throw on high velocity to push that velocity even further. BLK 7 milliwatt laser for the aim down, sprint out, and stability. Rib 400 to get all of that stability up, and it also gives a little bit of recoil control to help us recenter for a second shot if it's needed. Heinrichter hybrid scope, because it's going to give us an ADS speed boost, as well as a super clean reticle that we can absolutely clap shots at 300 or even 400 meters with. This build is absolutely phenomenal, and like I said, it has a 500 millisecond aim down sight speed, a 480 headshot damage in the first damage range. It falls down to around 400 at the longest. FJX Imperium is absolutely amazing right now. Another gun that got buffed in the Season 4 Reloaded patch is the MTZ 762, and when you throw on the aftermarket kit, it feels a lot like the AMAX, Though it's a 40 round mag, not a 45, it still feels absolutely incredible. You can take on SMGs in the close range, and you can still take fights to about 60 meters. For this build, we're going to start with the Jack Heretic Carbine Kit, as this is what makes this gun what it is. 40 round mag, largest option we have. I'm using the AIM-OP V4 because I am a traditionalist. Use the optic of your choice. Extend Phantom 5 hand stop once again to up our ADS and sprint outs, but also give us 5% to vertical and a little bit of gun kick. The 2% that we lose to horizontal is not a factor. And then the ZEM 35 compensator to bring some more recoil control into the gun, as well as keep us off the mini map as much as possible. The Jack Heretic MTZ 762 is absolutely top tier meta after the Season 4 Reloaded buff. I'm in love with this gun. And then next up, I've got the DM56 with the aftermarket part, turning this into a 4-round burst DMR. This thing absolutely slaps. You can 2-burst people at any range if you hit some headshots in your bursts. It is wonderful. It has almost no recoil, and it has an absurd bullet velocity. For this build, we're going to start with the VT7 Spirit Fire Suppressor to up our range and velocity, as well as get a little bit of recoil control. 5.56 high grain ammunition to push our range and velo once again. 40 round mag, largest option, lets us pull the trigger for 10 bursts, which is more than enough, even in quads. And then we use the Lockman X TRA pouch comb to bring all of our stats fully in line with this gun to get maximum stability. If you need a different optic, you can absolutely take the comb off and use a different optic. However, it gives you an optic for free. This is a 6 attachment gun that's absolutely worth using. For stats, we're looking at a 1300 meters per second bullet velocity and an effective damage range of 44.5 meters, which is where you can actually kill in 6 bullets, so 1.5 bursts. We have an ADS of 397 and a sprint to fire of 251. This gun is just incredible. And then the fastest killing TTK gun in the close range, the MCW Jack Raven conversion kit, is what I'm pairing this with. This gun is so incredibly dangerous. The only downside is bullet velocity being 300 black and subsonic. And for this build, we're using the ZEM 35 compensator once again for the same reasons as always. The Extend Phantom 5 hand stop to bring that ADS sprint to fire, and yes, to get a little bit more vert recoil control. SL Razorhawk laser to get ADS, sprint to fire, and then we're using the 40 round mag because it's the largest option we have. The only downsides this gun have, like I said, are the velocity, and then of course we only have a 40 round mag, but you absolutely delete people in the close range because it kills so fast. And then next up, I have an oldie but a goodie. This is one of my absolute favorite guns in the meta right now, and that is the Tempest Razorback. The Razorback is absurd, absolutely S tier meta. If you haven't used it in a while, give it a go. This thing's good for sniper support and long range. And for this build, once again, Spirit Fire Suppressor for that little bit of recoil control, the velocity, and the range. FTAC SP10 angled grip to get the horizontal recoil as well as the stability. High velocity to push our velocity as high as possible. The 60 round mags, it's the largest option we have. And then we're using the 13-inch Frenzy 9 barrel to get 2 attachments in one. Number 1, we're upping our ADS speed as well as sprint to fire. We're also getting a built-in integrated optic. The Frenzy 9 is such a unique attachment on this gun, though it does hurt our hip fire and our damage range very slightly. And with this build, we're getting an 850 meter per second bullet velocity and a effective damage range of almost 26 meters to absolutely fry SMGs up close when we get caught off guard, or on Rebirth Island where I typically use this build out, as well as being able to control a very easy recoil pattern to kill people out to 200 meters if needed. The Razorback is absolutely slept on. If you have not used it at all this season, absolutely pull it out and give it a whirl because you will be absolutely surprised. And then I'm pairing this with the FJX Horus, and this is absolutely a movement build. You can use the 48 in solos, duos. However, I prefer the 60. It's absolutely up to you on that point. Tac stance build here. This thing absolutely flies and it fries. Definitely one of the most dangerous guns in the game, and you will absolutely murk anyone using the Jack Raven MCW or the Saperi in the close range. This thing is absurd in tac stance as you're zooming and you're frying. For the build, we're using the ECS required suppressor. It's the only option that we have for a muzzle, so we might as well stay off the map and get the ADS speed from it. The brand new GRVZ short grip as our foregrip, as this is going to help with tac stance and hip fire. 60 round drum or 48 if you prefer. POCS tac grip to up our ADS and sprint, and then of course no stock to help with our tac and our movement. This build is absolutely absurd, having a tac stance spread of 1.5 degrees or almost nil. We're moving at 7.3 meters per second while sprinting, and then we have a 3.6 meters per second ADS movement speed to absolutely stunt on people. 162 on the aiding down, but we're in tac stance, so about half that. 68 on the sprint out, which is absolutely absurd. We do have an effective range of 10.2 meters, but you can absolutely hit shots out to the 30-meter window. This thing is insane. And then next up, I've got the wrap, and this is my primary for big map. The wrap is absolutely frying. It's in the best state it has ever been in, last year or this year. The wrap is absolutely destroying people. S tier in the meta. There are not many guns that can outperform this in the mid-range. The wrap is absurd. And the build once again starts the Spirit Fire Suppressor, and then we're going to move on to the FTAC SP10 Angled Grip. These two give us our stability, our recoil control, velocity, and range. We're then going to add high grain to bring even more range and velo into the mix. The OLAV laser to get more stability, aim down, and sprint out. And then I'm using the KR Mortis Precision 2.5 times. Use the optic you are most comfortable with. The wrap H is absolutely absurd, and so many people don't know about it. Every time I kill somebody, they go, whoa, what was that? And that is a good sign. You haven't used the wrap, use the wrap. You won't want to put it down. And then I'm pairing the wrap H with the Saperi 46. The Saperi 46 is insane. You know this. Let's break down the pretty standard build here. 735 compensator, as always, because it's such an OP attachment. 499 short barrel to bring up our ADS, as well as our movement speeds. The Rescue 9 stock to get recoil, movement, as well as stability. And then the 40 round mag, because it's the largest that we have. Finishing off with the DR6 hand stop for the ADS, sprint out, and even more movement. The Saperi, I'm really surprised they did not nerf this gun at all. It is absolutely absurd. It is the best sniper support option, and it is one of the best SMGs in the game. And then, hey fellas, I did just want to take a minute to say, if you're still here, you definitely like the content, and I would love to have you in the community. If you're not already subscribed, please make sure to do so. And there is a Discord listed in the description below. We would love to have you. We are over 200 members strong. There's games going on all of the time, and I would love to play with you. Also, make sure to like the video, and let's get back into it. All right, now let's work our way through the back nine, starting with the best sniper for Rebirth Island, in my opinion, and that is still the Kar 98. Though they did nerf the Kar 98, it is still absolutely a great weapon, primarily on Rebirth. And we're still sticking with the build we were using before the nerf with the Silentium 792, number one, because we get more velocity from it, and though we do lose a little bit of range, it's not really a big deal. We're using the long barrel to push our range and velocity as well, high grain for the same reason, OLAV laser to get our stability, as well as aim down and sprint out, and then I'm using the SPX scope as my choice. Use the scope that you are most comfortable with, as always. With this build, we have an almost 68 meter one-shot range, which is more than enough, a 943 meter bullet velocity, and a 448 ADS. The Silentium 792 is heavily slept on, and this attachment absolutely makes the Kar a clutch gun. And then I'm actually pairing the Kar 98 with the MTZ 556. This is a gun that got buffed with Season 4 Reloaded as well. It was good before that, and it is even better now, especially in sniper support on Rebirth Island, because it is a do-it-all gun, and it does it all well. For this build, we're using the Scratch 20 L suppressor to get firing aim stability and make sure that there is no RNG in our shots, so we can absolutely clap targets. The MTZ VLOL 3568 short barrel to bring our ADS movement speed up. We're going to use the FTAC SP10 Angled Grip to remove any horizontal recoil that we would have, as well as get stability. Then the low grain ammo to remove even more recoil and make this thing absolutely fry. In sniper support, we have the Kar 98 to use past 50 meters, so we don't need to worry about the damage range on this weapon. 50 round drum is our largest option. This is probably the only downside, but 50 should be more than enough even in quads. If you have not tried low grain ammo on an AR as a secondary to a sniper, give this gun a try and you'll absolutely fry lobbies. Next up, I've got another big map gun that I just cannot quit, and that is the Sidewinder. This is probably the best DMR in the game. I say DMR even though it's fully automatic. You will absolutely slap snipers across the map with ease. It is so much fun. It can also 3-shot in the close range. As always, we're going to start this build out with a VT7 Spirit Fire Suppressor for the recoil control, range, and velo. We're going to throw on the Tempest Predator barrel to push out our range and velocity, as well as pick up aim stability. FTAC SP10 Angled Grip for horizontal recoil, as well as aim stability. 30 round drum, largest option we have, more than enough with our under 500 shots per minute. And then the Forge Tac Delta is my optic of choice. Use the optic that you're the most comfortable with, but the Forge Tac is definitely a good option. This thing absolutely fries. And then I got another build for the horse here, and this one is using the Scimitar aftermarket kit, and it absolutely gets the job done, especially as a secondary to the Sidewinder. If I didn't say before, you can mix and match any of these guns with the others, and they will work. But with this Jack Scimitar loadout, you will absolutely fry anything that the Sidewinder cannot. not. ECS requires suppressor, keeps us off the minimap, as well as ADS speed, doorstop grip to get the horizontal recoil and the stability, Ripper light stock to bring up all of our movement speeds. I actually had the wrong stock on, that is my mistake, I just fixed that. However, the Ripper is absolutely clutch. You can go with the no stock if you would like. I was trying that before I started this video. It's alright, you just don't have as much range from it. And then we finish off with the POCS tack grip. If you need an optic, take the rear grip off and throw your optic on. The Horus Scimitar kit is absolutely incredible for sniper support. It's good by itself. It's good in every situation. Up next, I've got the SOA Subverter, and the Subverter did get a nerf at the beginning of Season 4, but it still absolutely shreds. I've never been a huge fan of this gun, but in the last 2 days, I've kind of fallen in love with it. Incredible at the mid-range, and I think my problem was I was trying to use it at very long ranges. This is a gun that I would use on both big map and small map. Spirit Fire Suppressor, once again, what do you know, it's a long range option. The Dozer 90 long barrel to get stability, recoil, range, and velocity. The SP10 angled grip for that horizontal recoil, as well as the stability. 50 round drum is the largest we have, and then once again, I'm using the KR Mortis Precision. Use the optic of your choice. However, the KR Mortis is a wonderful option if you have not tried it. And then they finally fixed the ammo on the BP50 conversion kit of the Revenger, so it uses SMG ammo and you can run it behind an AR. The BP50 Revenger is absolutely top tier meta now, as you can run an AR with it. There's not a whole lot you can do with this for builds, but what I did is a ZEM 35 compensator to bring the recoil in line after running the high grain ammo to push our range and velo, Chimera RYL 33 laser for the sprint to fire, aim down sight, and a little bit of that tack stance just in case I want to get spicy. I then threw on the CCG tape just so I can again get spicy and tack stance every once in a while, as well as the sprint to fire. The BP50 Jack Revenger is S tier, and it is going to take over the next couple of weeks. Then alright, another Modern Warfare 2 gun that refuses to leave the meta is the M13B or M13 Bravo. Big map or a small map, this thing absolutely shreds, and it has almost zero recoil. The only downside to it is you will run out of ammo if you are in quads or trios, otherwise it absolutely destroys. For this build, we're actually going to start with the Sonic Suppressor again because there's no recoil on this gun, so we want to push max velocity, max range, SP10 to eliminate the little bit of horizontal recoil the gun does have, as well as get our stability, high velocity because we need to push our velocity up to that 850 mark, as it's the one downside to the M13B and it's always been there. We don't want the long barrel because it adds over 100 milliseconds to our aim down sight speed, so high velo and the Sonic Suppressor will hit the 850 mark and get the job done. 60 round mag because you're gonna need it with how fast this gun fires. Then I'm using the Jack Glassless as my choice. If you want to use a different optic, that's more than fine. The M13 Bravo is incredible. It always has, even back in Modern Warfare 1 and Warzone 1. It was a top pick the entire time, and it still is today. And that's actually what I'm pairing with the Reclaimer 18, the brand new shotgun. And this is a really, really fun loadout, especially on Rebirth, because the shotgun kills in 2 pumps, or if you have it in semi-auto, 3 shots. The shotgun is actually very, very good. You just have to know how to use it. And with this build, we're using the X10 modified choke to push our range a bit, as well as tighten up those bolo shells when we are in the ADS or hip fire. The Discourager 900 long barrel, just so we can push our range as far as possible. Bolo shells to push the range further and tighten up the spread of our shots. The Haste 15 grip tape for the sprint to fire only out of it, and the Hinge LAF light stock for all of our movement benefits. This gun is actually a lot of fun. I would use it in pump for this setup. However, if you swap to the Dragon's Breath and throw this build into a tack stance, you will get a super tight pattern that will 2-shot in a semi-auto to about 10 meters. I covered this yesterday and showed a full build for Dragon's Breath as well. It'll be linked below. Alright boys, that's gonna do it for me. I just gave you all 10 of my loadouts that I plan to run through the remainder of the season. If anything comes up, I'll be sure to let you know, but that'll do it for me. Until next time, leave me alone and like the video.
Please file all complaints to the Department of No One Gets a Damn.